So I found a really cool connection between filming news and some foreshadowing that was set up last season, which gives us a hint to what Arya may be up to in Season 8. So let me just play my logo animation and we'll get right into it. You're now watching Because Geek. Some of you may remember the casting news video that I uploaded a while back, where I made some speculations about the roles that those characters would be playing, and I haven't changed my mind about most of them, especially about the speculations on who the poor boy might be. You don't need to watch that video before this one, but I will put a link to it in the corner here if you're interested. Thing is, there were a couple casting calls that I didn't include in that video because they were announced by Watchers on the Wall a few months after I uploaded it, and those were the casting calls for a young mother and her child. According to the call, the young mother should be played by an actress around the ages of 25 to 30. She is described as poor and in a survival situation, and the actress must have a naturalistic style and improvisation skills. Then they want her child to be played by someone around the ages of 5 to 8, and they're calling for identical twin girls. Why twins? Well, one of the reasons is because it's the best way to get around child labor laws. Since one single child can only work a certain amount of hours, if they need more than that, casting identical twins is the way to go. You get double the work hours for the same child face. But it also helps speed up the filming process in case one of the twins, just for whatever reason, does not want to cooperate. They have the other twin on standby. But yeah, they want this family to also have characterful faces and a scrappy demeanor, which to me sounds like it'll make for a fun scene to watch, but what can we speculate from this? Well, one of the most important things to take note of is that they will be a poor family, which means that they're most likely small folk. And usually if the scene that they're filming will be happening in the north, they will specify in the casting call that they need a northern accent, and this casting call didn't specify any accents. This does not confirm that they're not from the north, but it does make it a lot more likely that they're peasants from the south. More specifically, King's Landing. And we also need to remember that they want the child to be a girl and not a boy. I will let you know why this is important later. First, I want to talk about the Free Folk subreddit thread that inspired this video. In it, user Dutch Arya posted a picture of a comment on one of Macy's Instagram posts, where a mother states, "Sitting behind you on set on Monday, my 4-year-old in filming, at Macy Williams." And as a good sleuth, Dutch Arya connected this post to the casting call that we were just talking about, because the dates were very similar. I didn't tell you, but the casting call for the child also had filming dates and a location specified. The filming dates were May 4th and 9th, as well as between June 19th and the 26th, in Northern Ireland. Macy's post was from around June 6th, and the mother mentions Monday, which on that week landed on June 4th. The dates are not exactly accurate, but filming dates for casting calls are often moved around to match updated schedules, so this could still be a match. Now, there are a couple things I need to point out here. The child that was filming was a 4-year-old, and not a 5 to 8-year-old. And the way the comment was written tells us that the mother is talking about a single child, and not twins. If it were twins, they would probably be on set at the same time. So either the casting call was only a rough guideline, or these are just children playing different roles. But what is important is the line, "sitting behind you on set," because it sounds like she's talking about an indoor set. And all of the indoor sets, if there were more than one, that were used this year were in Northern Ireland, which tells us that Macy was in Northern Ireland in June. But that's not all. Even if this 4-year-old is not the same child as the one from the casting call, thanks to a report from Watchers on the Wall, we know that Macy was also in Northern Ireland on May 4th, which is one of the other dates the twins were scheduled to film. There's no proof that Macy filmed with the twins, but the dates and locations are some very interesting coincidences, and we do have proof that Macy filmed something with a child. Now, Dutch Arya also made another interesting speculation by pointing out that the child's casting call said multiple scenes and the mother's didn't, which could mean that the mother does not survive if the scene involves an attack. And think about it, if the mother does not survive, and we see Arya interacting with this child, it's a very short jump in logic to think that we will see Arya saving this child. This was a big point of discussion in that same thread as well, because there's a big subset of Game of Thrones fans who believe that even though Arya seems to be fully focused on vengeance and killing, she still has a heart. and the writers have made sure to show us that very often, and many fans want to see more of that next season. There were 2 comments on that thread that together explain this very well. One of them was written by user rbrecto, or rbrecto, who said, Arya is Ned Stark version 2.0. She is compassionate and merciful to the common folk, but she believes in justice and is capable of swinging the sword. She is not some vengeful assassin hell-bent on revenge, like some Redditors think. She has been through hell. She witnessed her father's execution, the parade of her mutilated brother, the murder of her mother, and other things a girl her age is not supposed to see. I would like to see her ending be something like Nymeria, Arya and her beloved Gendry with the people she has saved and protected, men, women and children, survivors of a destroyed Westeros sailing to the new continent west of Westeros to start a new life. The other comment was written by user Cave Lupum, or Cave Lupum, who said, the tenderness we're all anticipating in this scene is yet another reminder that plenty of Arya's old emotional self is still there. For example, there's her warmth and vulnerability with Lady Crane, her cheerful meal with the Lannister soldiers sent to investigate the twins incident, her sweet farewell to Hot Pie, her sad acceptance that her beloved Nymeria chose to stay with her own pack. She and Sansa reconciled in the crypt, and she even got a hug from Bran Bott. But when Arya learned that the evil Littlefinger was in the bosom of her home, she had to become no one again to deal with him. And after that was dealt with, it was Arya who opened the conversation with Sansa, thoughtfully asking, "Are you alright?" So again, even though we have no idea what Maisie filmed with this 4-year-old, you can feel that this scene of seeing Arya saving some of the common folk is very possible. And this is actually only a small portion of the supporting evidence. Users in the thread also made a connection with something that we have gotten in the books. In A Clash of Kings, when Arya is traveling with Yoren up to the wall, they find a little toddler girl on their way, who was a survivor from a holdfast that had been raided. They take this girl with them, and at some point later on in the story, when Yoren's group gets attacked and Yoren tells Arya to run away, Arya makes sure to save this little girl, and she does it with the help of Gendry. As they were running toward the barn, Arya spied the crying girl sitting in the middle of the chaos, surrounded by smoke and slaughter. She grabbed her by the hand and pulled her to her feet as the others raced ahead. The girl wouldn't walk, even when slapped. Arya dragged her with her right hand while she held Needle in the left. It sounds like something that could definitely happen in King's Landing in Season 8, doesn't it? Lots of fire and slaughter around, Arya sees a little girl and decides to drag her to safety. Yeah, but what if I told you that this has already been set up? And only one person in that thread came close to figuring it out, but didn't quite make it there. Yeah, there was one scene in Season 7 that could have told us where Arya's arc is headed, with the context of the scene and the dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Ed Sheeran scene. Yes, other than this awkward cameo, this scene may have had a lot more meaning than we thought. And I'm not just talking about showing us that Arya has a good heart. Let me just play it for you and you'll get what I mean right away.
My wife's just had our first baby.
Boy or girl?
Oh, who knows? I hope it's a girl.
Oh, I hope it's a girl too. I hope his wife and child are the young mother and child that got cast. And I hope this scene means what I think it means, because, guys, I know that we've been criticizing the show's writing lately, and with good reason, but if this dialogue is telling us what I think it's trying to tell us, I would consider this to be one of the best written scenes in Season 7. Let me break it down for you. First of all, we know what these Lannister soldiers are doing here.
What are you doing in the Riverlands?
There's been some trouble with the Freys up at the Twins, so we're part of the army that's been sent to keep the peace.
After he says this, the camera lingers on Arya's face, as the realization dawns on her that these soldiers are a long way from home because of her, and what she did at the Twins. You can see that her face is all guilt-ridden. And then, when this soldier said the most memorable line of the scene, "My mother always told me to be kind to strangers and strangers will be kind to you," we all thought that it simply meant that since this stranger was being kind to Arya by feeding her, she would be kind back to them by not killing them. Because we did notice her focusing on their swords, so we know that that's what she was thinking, and then she changed her mind. But what if it goes deeper than that? What if the act of kindness that she will return is saving this Lannister soldier's child once she gets to King's Landing in Season 8? How poetic of a payback would that be? Think about it. She's not only being kind to strangers here, she's being kind to her enemies. And she's making up for the pain that her revenge path has left behind. Thanks to her killing the Freys, this Lannister soldier may never get to meet his child. So wouldn't it be awesome if that's what the writers were foreshadowing here? It would be the absolute best way to bring Arya back from the dark path that she's been going down, having her put her hatred for her enemies aside, and bringing back that caring girl that she's always been deep inside. Of course, she would never put her hatred for Cersei or the Mountain aside, but as Arbrecto put it, maybe Arya will decide that Cersei's life is not hers to take, and she will either have Jaime or the common folk do it. We could go even deeper with the analysis of this scene. Just notice how it is this soldier who gives up his seat to give it to Arya, which could have been meant as symbolism for Arya taking his place as the person who will raise his child. Of course, there would need to be a way for Arya and us, the viewers, to know that the child that she saves in King's Landing is specifically this soldier's child. There's gotta be some connection. I mean, who knows? Maybe when Arya finds them in King's Landing, the mother will be drinking that blackberry wine that the Lannister soldier shared with Arya. Or maybe the mother will be singing that Gold Hands song that the soldiers were singing to her daughter, and Arya will recognize it. There's many ways. Speaking of the blackberry wine though, while analyzing this scene, I noticed that the soldier who made the wine also talks about leaving someone behind. And pay attention to the editing of the shots while he's talking about it.
I just think about my dad out there on his boat all alone. I ought to be out there with him.
Did you see how they cut straight to Arya's face in between? And then how they linger on it again to show her empathy feelings? It is quite possible, in fact, that Arya ends up finding and saving this soldier's father as well. We can infer from the dialogue that his dad works on a boat. And as you might remember, there was a casting call for a sailor. And I mean, his dad could also be a fisherman, but the line was ambiguous enough. Also, I do realize that the age in the casting call, and even the age of the child that Maisie was filming with, are probably a bit too old to play the part. The soldier did say that his wife had just had the baby, and even though we know that they've been away from home for a while, the child should be around 2 years old at the most, by the time that Arya makes it to King's Landing. But hey, the timing of the show is all weird, we all know this, so I won't use this as evidence against it. But I'll just put it out there. Even if I'm wrong, I've had a ton of fun speculating and analyzing this scene, and I am now convinced that we will see Arya saving not only this one child, but a lot of people. Potentially with Gendry by her side, like it happened in the books. Connecting her story to not only Nymeria, the princess of the Rhoynar who took her people to safety, but also to Nymeria her wolf, who Arya named after this princess, and who similarly adopted a pack of wolves to take care of herself. So poetic. So what do you guys think? I have a lot more to say about Arya and even about the Lannister soldier scene, so if you don't want to miss out on that, make sure that you're subscribed and that you click on the little bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching, leave a like if you liked it, subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one! Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Sophie, Steven Stark, Homer the Man, Desert Dragon, Tarzan, The Daily Ramble, Eric the Trask, Iked Claw, Shay Young, Roberto Ros Leon, Mizuma 10,000, Jeromeo Grayson, Shanna Ross, Gravis Card Wheeler, John DeMello, and Yogendra Verma. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and keeping this channel going.